Let's begin with national political updates. Co-chairman of the ruling party, Puspa Kamal Dahal, had issued a statement last week supporting Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro with regard to the country's political development. This has generated quite a ripple within Nepal Communist Party. The Nepal Communist Party leaders have clearly been divided into two blocs after the US government expressed its concern over Dahal's remark. As soon as the officials at the US Embassy in Kathmandu sought the government's official view regarding Dahal's statement, the Foreign Ministry asked for further information with Nepalese Ambassador to USA Arjun Kharke in Washington regarding the issue. Although implicitly embracing the very mood of Dahal's statement, the Foreign Ministry has already issued a statement by interpreting the street protest in Venezuela as the sovereign right of the country's citizens, the idea acknowledged by the US government itself. However, the statement's failure to satisfy the US has been indicated by the absence of the American ambassador in the joint diplomatic meeting held by the government on Friday. The NCP leaders have recently been divided over the development, and especially the ones closer to the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli have appeared more discontent. The government, meanwhile, has plunged into a diplomatic quandary, being dragged into a sensitive international issue due to Dahal's statement. This has also somehow raised distrust between the chairman duo of the ruling party. The trend of different ministers appointing their personal secretaries merely based on vested political or economic interest has been largely done away within the past 1 year. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli transferred 30 secretaries without the knowledge of the respective departmental ministers. However, the Premier continued with frequent transfer of secretaries, which has led to the change in tenure of some of the secretaries to as many as 4 times. The government transferred secretaries 9 times during its first 1 year, which has rendered the entire administrative leadership unstable. This has also been attributed to inadequate homeworks while making such transfers. On the other hand, the frequent transfer of secretaries would not allow the secretaries to get used to their responsibilities, and they are also likely to exhibit inadequate interest in their works. Experts are of the view that the government should instead focus on encouraging professional integrity among the secretaries and avoid appointing the ones who are unable to perform well. Dr. Govinda Kesi called off his 16th round of hunger strike on the 24th day of his strike on Friday on the request of civil society representatives, despite remaining dissatisfied with a number of issues in the medical education bill endorsed by the parliament. One of the major malpractices that has come to an end after Dr. Kesi's resistance is the trend of university office bearers determining the seats of medical colleges. The demand was raised by Dr. Kesi as he initiated resistance some 6 years ago. The provision to prohibit haphazard affiliation of medical colleges has so far been executed by Nepal Medical Council. The jurisdiction in this regard will now be under the upcoming Medical Education Commission. Likewise, the fee of every MBBS student has been set at 3.85 million rupees, unlike in the past when medical colleges used to charge up to 15 million rupees per student. Another achievement is admission of new medical students based on their capability and qualification, while a one-door policy has been adopted to prevent irregularities in entrance examinations. Likewise, the fees of 75% of medical students across the country are to be borne by the government itself under scholarship schemes. The new provision has also made it mandatory to establish medical colleges in all 7 provinces. The non-violent resistance instigated by Dr. Kesi has led to the operation of Mathema Task Force and University and Medical Science Academies, among others. Although a majority of advice floated by Mathema Commission have been implemented, the government has neglected the recommendations made by Judicial Monitoring Commission. Likewise, the government has not addressed Dr. Kesi's demands to bring the health-related programs of CTVT under the jurisdiction of Medical Education Commission and not to allow university to grant affiliation to more than 5 medical colleges. The change in the existing provisions has envisioned to turn all the medical colleges across the country to non-profit institutions. However, the targeted population and the overall nation would be able to reap benefits from all such achievements only in case of honesty on the part of political leadership. And time now for a short break. For more news, do stay with us. Welcome back. The property amounting to billions of rupees owned by the erstwhile King Birendra's family members that has been transferred to Nepal Trust has, however, been rendered useless. According to the constitutional provision, the property of the trust can be spent in health, education and other sectors of national development. But more than 1 billion rupees of the trust money along with more than 18,000 ropenis of land have remained unused due to not having a work plan to utilize them. The property collected in the trust are meant to be provided as grant for scholarship to students in remote and deprived regions, along with improvement of the quality of schools and universities. The law in this regard has also provision to establish hospitals and medical banks in the country's remote regions. The money nonetheless has failed to come to any use for the past 11 years due to the government's failure in enacting a proper work plan to move ahead with the scheme. The patron of the trust is the Prime Minister himself, while the chairman of its steering committee is the Home Minister. Likewise, the trust has the government chief secretary as the deputy chairman and secretaries of 6 different ministries as the members. The trust has hardly undergone any meetings despite the involvement of the high-ranking government officials. The government's failure in utilizing the property of the trust for those in need has portrayed the scarcity of willpower and commitment of the political leadership. The central, provincial and local governments are still having a hard time coordinating with each other. In this context, we had asked the ward chairpersons of Kantipur why have there been difficulties in coordinating with the provincial governments. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public voice.
ऐन कानुनलाई कार्यान्वयन गर्ने जुन कुराहरू छ त्यो पनि अभ्यासमै भएको कारणले कतिपय तालमेल मिलिरहेको छैन।
एक तहको सरकारको अर्को तहको सरकारसँग कानुनी रूपमा चाहिँ बाजिन नहुने भन्ने खालको संविधान तह भएको व्यवस्थालाई चाहिँ यो भोलि काम गर्दै जाँदै क्रममा मिलेपछि त्यो आफै चाहिँ समन्वय हुँदै जान्छ भन्ने लाग्छ।
कर्मचारीको अभाव, बेलामा कर्मचारी नपुगेको कारणले गर्दा कार्यक्रमहरू बनेर जान नसक्नु नै एउटा मुख्य कुरो हो भने अर्को कुरो कानुनको पनि अभाव हो।
प्रदेश सरकारले जुन खालको चाहिँ एउटा नीति निर्माण ऐनहरू बनाएर पास गर्छ हैन र संविधानले दिएको बुँदामा रहेर स्थानीय तहले पनि त आफूले चाहिँ के भन्छ कानुनहरू निर्माण गर्न सक्छ र त्यो भएको हुनाले त्यो अलिकति बाजिएको कुरा भएर अलि समन्वयको चाहिँ अलिकति टाढा भएको हो कि भन्ने महसुस छ हामीलाई।
छिटो कानुन चाहिँ बनाएर चाहिँ स्थानीय लेभलमा चाहिँ नआउँदाखेरि पनि चाहिँ अन्यलता पनि भएको जस्तो लाग्यो र हामी आफै पनि हामी चाहिँ अब स्थानीय हिसाबले हामी पनि त्यहाँ बिजी हुँदा पनि अब प्रदेशमा आउने काम नपर्दा पनि चाहिँ अलिकति चाहिँ हामी अल्मलिएका जस्तो भयौं।
And it's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And your question is, why has the money collected in Nepal Trust been of no use? Your options are A, lack of work plan, B, no identified areas, and C, risk of misuse. Voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And now time for sports update.
Sports news.
Nepal take on the United Arab Emirates in the third and the final 2020 match under the 3-match series later today. Winners of the match will clinch the series. Skipper Paras Khadka has said that Nepal will aim to win the series with a good performance in the series decider. With the aim of creating history by winning both the series in a single tour, Skipper Paras Khadka said that both the teams want to win the series by playing good cricket.
We'll be equally, competitive. I think matches have shown that, both players are teams and players from both the sides are looking very hungry to go out there and perform. So that way, we are trying our best and just hope that we can get that final convincing performance.
After winning the One Day International Series, Nepal lost the first T20 match by 21 runs, while it avenged the loss in the second T20 with a 4-wicket win. Dipender Singh Airi was impressive for Nepal in the second match. Meanwhile, there are possibilities of changes in Nepal's squad for today's match. Wicketkeeper batsman Binod Bhandari is likely to replace Pradeep Airi. Pradeep Airi has failed to perform in the two previous matches. Nepalese bowlers were impressive in the second T20 match and will aim to continue their brilliant performance. However, once again, all eyes will be on the performance of Nepalese batsmen in the series deciding match. Tottenham Hotspur defeated Newcastle by a solitary goal while Chelsea thrashed Huddersfield 5-0 at the English Premier League last night. In the match played at Tottenham's Wembley Stadium, the first half ended in a goalless draw. Newcastle United created several opportunities to score but couldn't convert. It seemed like the match was heading towards a draw, but Son Heung-min scored the only goal of the match for Tottenham in the 83rd minute. With the win, Tottenham, who have climbed to the second spot in the points table, have reduced the gap between league leaders Liverpool to 4 points. Liverpool lead the league table with 61 points from 24 matches, while Tottenham's are second with 57 points and Manchester City are third with 56 points. Meanwhile, in another English Premier League match played last night, Chelsea trounced Huddersfield with a 5-0 win. Higuain scored in the 16th minute and 69th minute, while Eden Hazard converted a penalty kick in the injury time just before half-time and scored his second goal in the 66th minute to give Chelsea a commanding 4-0 lead. David Luiz scored the last goal of the match in the 86th minute to seal Chelsea's 5-0 drubbing of Huddersfield. Higuain, who was transferred to Chelsea from Juventus on loan in January, scored his first goal for the team last night. With last night's win, Chelsea are in the fourth spot of the points table with 50 points from 25 matches. Two matches are slated for tonight, in which Leicester City will face Manchester United, while Manchester City will take on Arsenal. Barcelona came from behind to level the match at 2-2 against Valencia at the Spanish La Liga as Lionel Messi rescued the team from embarrassment by scoring both the goals. In the match played at Barcelona's home ground Nou Camp last night, defending champions Barcelona found themselves trailing 2-0 after Valencia's Kevin Gameiro scored in the 24th minute and Daniel Perrezo converted a penalty in the 32nd minute. Lionel Messi also converted a spot kick for Barca in the 39th minute to cut the deficit to 2-1. In the second half, Messi scored his personal second goal of the match in the 64th minute to tie the match at 2-2. After last night's draw, Barcelona still lead the league table with 50 points from 22 matches. Atletico Madrid are in the second spot with 44 points, while Real Madrid are in the third position with 39 points, with both teams having played one match less than Barcelona. League leaders Juventus were held to a 3-3 draw against Parma at the Italian Serie A. In the match played at the home ground of Juventus last night, Cristiano Ronaldo gave the host the lead in the 36th minute. Daniel Rugani found the net in the 62nd minute to double the lead for Juventus. Antonio Barilla pulled one back for Parma in the 64th minute to make it 2-1. Cristiano Ronaldo scored his second goal of the match in the 66th minute to give Juventus a 3-1 lead. It looked like Juventus were going to run away with the win, but Arsenal's former striker Gervinho scored 2 goals, one in the 74th minute and another one in injury time to draw the match at 3-3. After the draw, Juventus are still at the top of the Serie A league table with 60 points from 22 matches, while Napoli are second with 51 points. Napoli blanked Sampdoria in another match, 3-0, played last night. And before we wrap up this morning news bulletin, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Government plunges into diplomatic quandary following NCP Chairman Dahal's statement over Venezuelan politics. Differences emerge within the ruling party. Administrative leadership rendered unstable due to frequent transfer of secretaries by the government. Single secretary transferred up to 4 times. Thousands of protesters take to the streets separately in the Venezuelan capital in support of President Nicolas Maduro and his self-proclaimed interim successor, Juan Guaido. And Nepal taking on UAE in the last match on the 2020 series today. Nepalese bowlers in good form as all eyes on our batsmen again. And those were our latest headlines. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTVSD. Good day.